Welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and today we're going to talk about sleep. Yes, how do you get good sleep? How do you know if you're not getting good sleep? What happens when you don't get enough good sleep? What happens to children who are not getting enough sleep? And that sometimes can lead to ADHD. So we got to talk about that. We're going to talk about what nutrients you need to include in your supplement program, how to eat better if you're having sleep issues. We've got a lot to cover. So grab a pillow. Don't get too comfortable though. But before you do, be sure and hit the subscribe, the like, and share this with your friends, because the more you subscribe, the more we will be able to share with people around the world. So glad you're joining us here today for God's recipe for excellent health. Let's start with, when we lack sleep, we have these 4 issues that can happen. Number 1, we don't process our emotions well. All right, we've all seen people dealing with that. That's a hormonal imbalance. Number 2, we don't have access to the full mental capacity. That's a gut microbiome imbalance. Number 3, we don't have access to our memory stores. That's a mental imbalance. And number 4, we can't properly detox. That's going to lead to chronic inflammation. Sleep is an issue where quality is just as important as quantity. Sleep is a foundational pillar to health. The successes of every single day are amplified with the quality and quantity of sleep from the night before. In fact, many people have seen how caring for a family member, you know how when a family member is suffering from a terminal disease and a terminal illness, and you're caring for them day and night and day and night. Well, the person who is the caregiver tends to gain weight, tends to have memory issues, tends to have emotional issues because of the lack of sleep. It's not because of the lack of care. They care for their family member immensely, but it's the lack of sleep. And sometimes it takes for that person to then, the person who is sick, when they pass on, it takes months for a person who has lost that sleep to overcome it. But they do. It does happen because God has created us to repair. We all know the story of young moms who have a newborn baby at home and they're losing all those hours of sleep at night, and you can't really catch enough cat naps during the day because you're trying to prepare and clean the home and all of that. Well, I remember with our firstborn, when my mom watched him overnight for the first time, wow. For the first time, I felt like a regular person again. I could think straight. I could function. I just felt amazingly refreshed just from one night of sleep after many months of no sleep. Not really no sleep, but interrupted sleep. So I know those of you who are moms, you know what I'm talking about. Although a restless night of sleep doesn't have to lead to a weary day, it more than likely will. So that's why quality and quantity go hand in hand. So what are the symptoms of lack of sleep? Number 1, it would be moodiness. And we have a word for that, crankiness. You know, we all know when a toddler is tired, but do you recognize it in an adult? And so moodiness is a number 1 symptom of lack of sleep. Number 2 is digestive upset. And sometimes this is misdiagnosed as it's a food insensitivity, or it could be vice versa. But digestive upset can be related to lack of sleep. Your digestive system needs to go through that restorative process at night. And if you don't give it enough hours to complete its process, you're going to have these hangover effects in your digestive system. It's going to cause issues. Number 3 is memory lapses. Lack of sleep has been proven to lead to memory lapses just within the next 24-hour period. Number 4 is mental fatigue. Many of my adrenal fatigue clients, they totally can attest to this. They are perfect examples of what happens if you don't get enough sleep and you have a chemical imbalance with salt and other nutrients. And so what happens is you have a lack of sleep. That leads to adrenal fatigue. Then you have more insulin issues. That leads to more adrenal fatigue, which leads to more lack of sleep. So we've got a cycle, and we need to fix the cycle. And so we work quite extensively with the adrenal fatigue clients in that regard. Number 5 is weight gain. Lack of sleep leads to food cravings and late at night eating. Number 6 is ADHD in children. Many times it's been proven in some of the different studies that I read that ADHD is misdiagnosed, and it's just a child's inability to get adequate sleep at night. So when are children able to sleep better? Well, it's younger than you think. The steps I'm going to share with you are truly beneficial for adults and children. In fact, setting good sleep habits is particularly important for infants and children, and it directly impacts their mental and their physical development. The circadian rhythm develops at about 6 weeks. Right. And I know many people who by 6 weeks, they want their child sleeping through the entire night. With my children, it was at 8 weeks because that's when I went back to work and I worked the night shift, and my husband decided they needed to sleep through the night if I was going to do the night shift. So he made sure it happened. It took him 2 nights to correct any sleeping issues, and from then on, they always slept through the night. So anyway, at 6 weeks, they have the circadian rhythm already set, and by 3 to 6 months, most infants have a regular sleep-wake cycle. And that's how it should be. If you have children with issues beyond that age, then you need to address it either with what I'm going to share with you today or seek a physician to help you out. Now let's look at the benefits of sleep. 4 things: repair, remove, refresh, and reset. All right, let's say it again. Repair, remove, refresh, and reset. Those are the 4 things that happen when you sleep. You ever wonder why you wake up and you've burned a lot of calories and you've lost some weight overnight? Well, yeah, because your body has been actively working to burn over 1,000 calories while you sleep with all of the organs and the systems that are doing their job. This is when the night maids come in and just start working for you. But we have to set it up for them to clean. You can't just hang the sign out on the door that says, "Do not interrupt, I'm sleeping." No, you had to put the sign out that says, "Maids are welcome," okay? So there's a lot that needs to happen during the night to help you sleep. The biological functions happening at night in your body affect every single organ and every single function that happens. There is nothing in your body that is not improved by a good night's sleep. The body uses the evening and night time for repair. Repair starts from the moment you stop eating in the evening until the next morning when you wake up and start eating again. So this time of breaking the fast is very important, that we have a fasting time so our body can clean up. This is very helpful to have also a minimum 3-hour gap between the last bite and before you lay down. That helps as well. By then your digestive system has pretty much processed everything through the small intestine, and then it's okay to lay down. So once the repair starts, so once your body has kicked into gear and they know the rhythm, you've stopped eating, you're starting to prepare for going to bed, it's going to start the removal of toxins. So think of this again like your maid, your digestive system, your liver, your kidneys, and your lymph nodes. These are all working in harmony throughout the evening and the entire night to clean up. If they find toxins, they clean it up. If they find trash, they clean it up. If they find used baggage, they clean it up. If they find dead cells, aging cells, they clean it up. They dump it into your system in the morning. You wake up, you eat a high fiber breakfast, and boom, gone. All those toxins are removed. So we have to have the high protein, high fiber, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So during the night, you have this repair mode. Goes in and repairs things that need tightening up, that need improving. You have the refresh mode, you have the reset, and you have the removal. All of this has to happen during the night while you sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep or you don't prepare your body to sleep, you're going to miss out on this cleansing process. And there's so much more that happens at night we're going to go into. So here are 10 steps to better sleep and therefore a fantastic life. All right, number 1. Make it a priority. Sleep needs to be a priority, and 8 hours needs to be your minimum. There are a few people who have a genetic issue that they can actually sleep less hours and do fine, but it's not as many people who think so. In fact, we're realizing now people who think they can sleep less hours are dealing with migraines, acne, and other digestive issues. So try working for 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but really work for that. Psalm 3:5 says, "I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me." Set it a priority, keep your priority, and always realize God's got you. Number 2, avoid sleep hacks. Yes, they happen and they are true to their word. And that would include sugar, alcohol, and eating late at night, especially processed carbs. Chips at night are a downfall and they destroy the immune system. So we want to make sure we're feeding our maids well and not giving them sugar and alcohol. Just think, if your maids were given sugar and alcohol, you expect them to clean up for you? No, they're going to be partying and therefore you're not going to benefit. All right, think of it that way. All right, this leads to a hormonal imbalance with insulin and cortisol interrupted. Be sure you're subscribed to this channel because my insulin and cortisol YouTube videos are going to be coming up soon that help to explain what happens when you sleep when we get this insulin and cortisol out of balance. All right, so don't be eating late at night, no sugar and no alcohol. That's going to help you sleep so much better. Number 3, now I know this is an issue with a lot of people, but turn out the lights. We need darkness to sleep. Your body was created to sleep in darkness. Yes, So we start by tuning down the lights in the evening. You can actually get apps on your phone and on your computer that will start dimming the lights so you're not having this bright blue light shining in your face, especially if you've got your computer on up until bedtime, or your children are on their iPads, their computers as well, even in their bedroom, and they've got this bright blue light. It interrupts their circadian rhythm and they're not going to sleep well. They're going to have nightmares. They're going to have fear at night. They're going to be afraid of the darkness. So we have to turn these things off or get the apps to tune it down to get rid of the blue light, and it becomes more of a dull light. Not dull that you can't read it, but dull that you don't have this brightness shining in your face. Kind of like the window outside right behind me, you have that bright daytime light. We don't need that. Our body needs to start going into a sleep cycle. So we have to sleep in the darkness. And there's other reasons for that. If your children or yourself, you're afraid of the darkness, then you need to address the fear. It's not the darkness that you're afraid of. It's a fear that you've allowed to create this happening in your life. And so sometimes when we have a fear of our own, we transfer that to our children. So if you can't sleep in darkness, are you keeping your children from sleeping in darkness? And this is something we need to address, because we need to sleep in darkness because that's where we get our best sleep, our best quality sleep. And you can always ask yourself, hey, are my children, are they well stabilized, or do they have anxiety issues or depressive issues or ADHD issues? If they do, then you need to address the darkness of their room and not have bright lights in their room when they're sleeping. Number 4, remove electronics. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that, but there's actually truth to this. So removing any of the blue lights, like in our bedroom, we have a DirecTV blue light. And so we always have to make sure it's off, because it'll just wake me up, or it'll just like shine through my eyelids like, what is on? I can tell something's on. So we always make sure the blue light is off, and then make sure we're not charging any of our phones near the bed. Number 5, you've heard about this in scripture, don't go to bed angry. Yes, if you need to, keep a journal nearby or meditate on God's word. Ephesians 4:6 says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. And that is such a true statement. This verse teaches us to be mindful of how we're interacting with others. Remember, no one can force you to be angry. You choose to be angry. People can be rude. They can be obstinate. They can just be downright ugly. But you choose to be angry. All right? Either you trust God's got it, or you don't, and you let yourself be angry. Okay? If someone has done you wrong, then just forgive them. And you may say, Annette, you don't know what they've done. I don't. And I don't need to know. But I do know our God is greater. Our God is greater than no matter what has happened to you. So we either trust him and sleep in the confidence of his word, or we don't trust him and we sleep with anger and bitterness. Well, one's going to bring a peaceful sleep and the other one's going to bring no sleep. So you choose that. So learn to forgive. Also, if you've caused harm to someone, you need to go and seek forgiveness. It doesn't matter if they accept your forgiveness. That's on them. What matters is that you get right with the Lord. All right, number 6 is naps. I know some people who just flourish when they get a nap, and that's great if you're that type of person. Now, a 20-minute nap there's nothing wrong with that, especially for my adrenal fatigue clients. Like, yeah, you need to nap, and that's okay. It will recharge you. But don't nap past 3 o'clock and no more than 20 minutes. What happens is throughout the day, you build a sleep pressure. And so by evening and bedtime, that sleep pressure builds up so that when you lay down, you should be asleep within 10 to 15 minutes. All right, eat healthy. Yay, this is the one I like. This is the one I teach. All right, so eat healthy means I want you to eat on time, and I want you to eat healthy proportions. I've noticed as I get older, I actually need smaller proportions. Like, that's too bad. But no, it's really good. And because the smaller portions I eat, the better I sleep. So healthy foods include a high quality protein and, you know it, super quality fiber. Yes, fiber feeds our mates. I don't want to be feeding them sugar and alcohol. No, they're not going to clean up anything. They're just going to be partying. I want to feed them fiber. When they eat fiber, they have what they need to do their job, do the cleanup. They'll pay me back with B vitamins, which means I wake up happier, and they will help sweep out, and it'll be a very clean sweep, and their job will be done. Yeah, so we've got to have high quality fiber. If you're following me on Facebook on Grocery Discovery, which we will later post those here on YouTube, I teach you about all the foods in the grocery store and the fiber content and the vitamins and the minerals and then how to cook with them. So make sure you're following that as well. All right, so number 8, exercise daily. You've got to be moving. I have very much a sit-down job, and so I have to force myself, okay, it's time to get up and move. It's time to get up and move. Don't go to bed unless I've done a minimum of 3 miles or a workout on the bike or my weights. I've got to move. And so you need to too. You were designed, you were created to move. God, created you to move. Jesus walked everywhere. He walked miles. He was healthy. He was had the ability to climb mountains. You should too. All right, so let's think about that. And number 9 is sleep on decisions. Now this is different than don't go to bed angry. Sleep on decisions. Sometimes when you have a very important decision, or if you're just really praying about something, there's nothing wrong with just letting that lie on the table on your nightstand. It's like, Lord, I'm just going to trust you with this. I know that when I wake up, you're going to have some answers for me. If you have not caught onto our Praying for Miracles course, I'll put a link to that down below, because sometimes people don't know how to pray, don't know how to pray expectantly, don't know how to pray God's word, because God answers his word, because it's guaranteed, it's his word. So learning how to pray for miracles, I'll put a link to that course down below. I really highly recommend that. It's written by one of my great friends, and just totally cherish her work. So sometimes we need to learn how to sleep on a decision. Sleeping on a decision, your brain is designed, was created by God, that when throughout the night it creates new synapses, and it's always working on great ideas. Some people will even keep a notepad by the bed. It's like, wow, that's a great idea. They'll wake up, write it down, then go back to sleep. Okay, and that's a fantastic idea. I don't do it because then I had to turn on the light, find my glasses, and I don't want to wake up my husband. But it's a great idea, because your brain is working at night. So just give your concerns to the Lord when you go to bed. It's like, Lord, this is really on my heart. This is on my mind. I'm going to give it over to you tonight while you work it out. Just tell me what your answer is in the morning, and let that happen. And number 10, supplement wisely. Yes, I'm about eating, supplementing, and praying. Got to get them all in order. So a good multivitamin is a necessary ingredient for everyone in the family, no matter what age, from infants all the way to 105. Everyone needs a good multivitamin. If you're not sure how much multivitamin to take, then call my office and we'll set you up an appointment. We'll do a nutritional assessment questionnaire with you, and it'll help you to know, hey, just the normal dose is good. Maybe you need some more. Good multivitamin. Vitamin D. Get your vitamin D level checked. You need that to be up to 60 to 100 nanograms, and so get that checked. You don't need your doctor to do that. You can go to directlabs.com, requestatest.com, and order it yourself. It's usually under $50. That way you save yourself the office visit, you control it, and you're in charge of your health. All right, so besides that, if you have any issues at all with your gut, any anxiety, depression, make sure you consult with our office, and we'll share with you what supplements you need to do to fix that. So heal the gut and everything else works. It's so amazing. Let's look at natural options. The first one that most people navigate to is melatonin, but many people don't realize melatonin is a synthetic hormone. It teaches your body not to make its own melatonin. So you become dependent on the supplement. And the supplement only works for about 50% of the people who try it. So if you're like, yeah, I tried it, it didn't work, that's okay. It doesn't work for everyone. But if you do use it and it works for you, only use it once a month, or maybe at the most once a week, because you don't want your body to become chemically dependent on it and become to where you create a tolerance for it. All right. Now, other extracts that actually work better. There is an extract, now this one sounds weird, but it actually really works. It's called corn grass. Corn grass provides a building block for your body's own synthesis of melatonin, which synthesis is not the same as synthetic. It means your body is making it itself. It's synthesis, that's what I said. If you need more melatonin, your body can make it when it needs it. And that's how your body works. When it needs something, it makes it, as opposed to when we take something that interrupts that process. So this means you don't wake up with a melatonin hangover the next morning because your body hasn't fully metabolized the synthetic hormone. Now, the corn extract actually helps your body create melatonin, which in turn helps you to fall asleep faster. You stay asleep longer and you sleep 40% better. Okay, that's good, and that's worth looking into. You have more time in REM sleep and deep sleep. You also wake up with a good, vibrant energy instead of the hangover that the other products cause. You actually can restore your body better while you sleep. That's important too, because remember, we want to repair, refresh, and reset. This extract works for most people when taken at night, but I have a few clients that actually it works better when they take it in the morning. I know that totally sounds crazy. Why would you take a sleep product in the morning? Well, because it's kind of adaptogenic. So it helps you work through the day, have vibrancy, but yet it helps you reset by evening so that your REM cycle is ready to work for you. I know it sounds crazy, but just trust me, for some people it works better that way. All right, how to eat for better sleep. Let me quickly go over this. Many people suffer from GERD, G-E-R-D, and acid reflux. My husband did, and when we started this journey, this healthy living journey, we actually realized it wasn't an acid reflux at all. The Prevacid was not his answer. What the answer was, a food sensitivity to having chocolate at night. Yes, he was eating chocolate ice cream every night. Well, we won't even go into all the issues with that, but when he stopped it, because we went on to the Daniel fast, everything cleared up. His GERD went away, acid reflux, all of that. Didn't need the Prevacid again, hasn't needed it since, and that's been since 2003. So, how to eat for better sleep. So first of all, my first suggestion is avoid fats, onions, chocolate, and spicy food. Avoid them second half of the day or altogether. Many people who have issues with these foods, it will show up as lack of sleep. Finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, which I've already shared that with you. Sleep with the head of the bed and the shoulders elevated. We actually have a 2-inch block underneath the headboard of our bed. You don't really notice that you're up on a little bit of an incline, but it definitely makes a difference in your breathing and just your relaxation. Cheap, just get any board out of the shop and put it under your bed. Sleep on your left side. Some people do better sleeping on their left side. Avoid alcohol and don't smoke. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the very end. Verses to meditate on for sleep. And then I want to wrap this up with an important message, so stay tuned. Proverbs 3:24, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. That pretty much sums it all up. John 11:12, his disciples replied, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better. So read that in John 11, what he's talking about. And in Matthew 8, it talks about how Jesus was asleep in the front of the boat while this huge storm came up. And those storms do come up on the Sea of Galilee. It's like being in a fishbowl. You may think, well, it's a small sea. Well, it is. But because of the mountains around it, a storm can come up very quickly, unexpectedly, and the waves can be 6 to 10 feet tall. Yes, that's going to create fear in a lot of people's lives. Proverbs 6:9, how long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? Well, okay, what this is saying is we want you to sleep. God's word says to have a peaceful night of sleep, but it also means that, hey, don't be a sluggard and sleep all day. We all know people who do that. If Ecclesiastes 5:12, the sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much, but as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. Psalm 121:3-4, he will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will never slumber nor sleep. That's the same God watching over us today. And Psalm 91, whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God who I will trust. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day. This is still the same God who is in control of our life today. If you're not feeling great today, then get more sleep. Do not sleep as a sluggard, but sleep as the one who is confident in knowing that God's in control. You can place your trust in him. Remember, sleep is important for quality and quantity, and we need to address both. I'm going to put a link to that sleep supplement down below, and I just want to say thank you for letting me share God's recipe for excellent health. May you have a good night's sleep tonight. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell next to it, and share this with your friends. Annette Reeder, thebiblicalnutritionist.com.